to mind?
The first time I saw the video, I asked myself 10 questions. The first was that, is it a crime to give someone a gift? The second question was that, is it a crime to give someone the denomination as purported to be dollars? The third question was that, is it a crime to give agrada money? The fourth question was that, has anyone been able to establish that the amount of money given does not peg onto his monthly wage or his monthly salary? And so on and so forth. And so when I analyzed the circumstances surrounding, then I asked myself a question. Is it a crime to sit in your car, count money, and give to someone? These are fundamental questions any Ghanaian watching us today will also ask him or herself. And the reason why people ask themselves these questions is because they would try hard to arrive at a point of establishing where Sammy Gyamfi erred. And it's just fair. Like the presidency has invited, or were said to have invited him for questioning. Anybody would ask anybody such questions. And for me, as a young man from the northern part of this country, I won't fault Sammy Gyamfi for even apologizing. And the reason is that, per my training, whether you are right or wrong, if there's an uproar based on morality, you ought to apologize, even before you explain yourself. Growing up, there were things I never did wrong. I was scolded for them. And per my training, all you need to say is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Then after, if there's ever an opportunity, you explain yourself based on the facts of the circumstances. Okay. Let me state emphatically on this platform that when I watched the minority, I shook my head.
No, we'll come to the minority, but you didn't provide answers to the questions you asked.
I mean,
so what were your answers to the questions?
So I'm coming to that. Yeah. Number one, based on the first question I asked, is it a crime to give someone a gift? No. There is no law in this country that criminalizes the offering of gifts. In fact, even if you are a public officer, once a gift is given to you, there are steps you take to ratify that particular gift. And those steps were done even in recent past, where His Excellency the President declared some gifts that were given and donated them to the state. Fair enough. All presidents get some gifts. What you ought to do is to declare it and follow a procedure. Why? If there's any wrongdoing, His Excellency the former president, Nanado, was caught on tape taking a brown envelope with 2 hands from people. It was a gift. He never declared it. But even with that, we never penalized him for it. Fast forward, the second question, is it a crime to possess dollars? There is no law, again, in this country that criminalizes the possession of that currency, dollar. There is no law. Look, recently, last week, and even till now, our brothers and sisters have been going on pilgrimage. They don't take Ghana cedi there. Do you know that it is even more of a crime to take a lot of Ghana cedi out of this country than taking the dollar out of this country? Go and read the foreign exchange law. It is a crime. If I'm traveling out of this country, the amount of cedi I can take out is far lower than the amount of dollar I can take out. At least with dollar, we can even do up to 10,000. But with the cedi, you must do far less than it, because you cannot take that currency out. And so for our brothers and sisters who were going on Hajj, what currency did they take? Or what currency did we give them? There is no law anywhere in the books. I listened to my brother Kabiru.
We'll come to Kabiru.
Quoting, okay, I was going to
Kabiru.
Then the third point
now if you have answered, okay.
The reason why it is not a crime to possess dollars in this country is because we even have forex. And the forex bureaus that are registered under the laws of this country permit you to buy and sell dollar. Okay. So if it is a crime, then the forex bureaus should be turned into chobbers, because it means that simply they are not fit to establish a fact that you go in and then you buy to possess dollars.
So the way and manner you answer the question, then the question to you then is,
yes,
I mean, why has he been invited by the Chief Justice? the chief of staff. Sorry, the chief of staff. Has he been invited?
There was no official document anywhere.
I mean, at least we have confirmed.
I'm saying that there was no official document anywhere suggesting that the chief of staff invited him based on A, B, C, D, and so we cannot establish that, you and I.
Okay,
but the fact still remains
the fact that we can report is the fact that the information we have is that he was invited by the chief of staff in connection to the video.
So if I come to your studio today and then I hug you. And people go out there to say, because Malik Basintale hacked Akable, he's a gay. And so we have to investigate him. And there's an uproar. The presidency will invite me. They'll invite me not because I'm a gay, but they'll invite me because there are public sentiments. And people think that I must come and respond to it. And so the fact that you have been invited does not simply, but this is even the chief of staff. The Supreme Court can even invite you. You could have a case there and you go there. But if you go to the Supreme Court, it doesn't simply mean you are guilty.
In terms of some of the questions you also asked, you agree that some of them could appropriately be answered when a proper investigation takes place. For instance, you made reference to the fact that you've not heard anyone suggest that his earnings and the money he was seen with, 100%. They cannot correlate it. You agree that only an investigation can establish that?
100%. And the government is committed to doing that. Because even yesterday, the government's spokesperson stated emphatically that we are committed to, looking into the sentiments that were raised by the public. But the fact still remains, and that's what I want to establish, that let all know that there is no law that criminalizes the possession of dollars. And let me use the Cecilia Dapa case, for example, of which people have referenced. Look, in the Cecilia Dapa matter, the crime was not in the possession of dollars. The crime was in the amount of dollars she had, just opposing it, put her into. Because to have found $1 million that cannot be tallied or just opposed to her income, then it will be tantamount to a prosecution beyond hellfire. What I'm saying is that there is no law that criminalizes the possession. Look, even back in the days, before the days of Kwame Nkrumah, when you arrive in this country with dollars, you declare it at the airport. And those days in history, the only place you were even permitted to spend the dollar was around the trade fair. That's where you go and then you'll be able to purchase things. But today, Aboso kind spare part dealers, they import commodities. Do they buy them with CD? They buy it with dollar. People who import vehicles into this country or import commodities into this country, what currency do they use in trade? They use it. They use the dollar. And so if today I sit here and then I have 10,000 cedis, no law stops me from walking into a forex bureau to buy the dollar. No law. In fact, the forex bureau is even far-fetched. No law stops me from going into the Bank of Ghana to buy the dollar and then possess it. There are people who sit here. Look, I'm a public worker, and Akable, there are public servants in various institutions who go on international trips. Anytime they are going, what currency do the organizations give them? Is it the CD? Do you spend the CD in Canada? So anytime even these people, even TV3, anytime you are sent on an international assignment, what currency do they give you? I want to ask you, please, what currency? Have you been on an international trip before?
Obviously it will be in dollars.
So they give you dollars to go. So admittedly, there is no crime in the possession of dollars.
Those who are drawing the parallels with the Cecilia Dapa issue, they make the point that the principle is not more about the quantity. They make the point that it still comes back to the question you asked about the fact that if an investigation does not settle the matter of earnings and what you are found with, you cannot conclusively dismiss it. And they'll make reference to the fact that in the Cecilia Dapa instance that you made reference. So at least we know that multiple investigative agencies have handled it.
100%.
As it stands now, there's no case.
No. It was the president who wrote a love letter saying, "My sweet, precious, loving Cecilia Dapa."
That was before the investigation.
100%. So and the president prejudiced the outcome. Yeah, so I'm saying that in the Cecilia Dapa matter, the president, His Excellency John Mahama could have also written, "My sweet, darling boy, Sammy Gyamfi." He could have said that. In fact, even in this instance, there hasn't been any crime committed. But I'm saying that the president cleared Cecilia Dapa. That is established. In this particular matter,
Yoko did as well.
The receiver of the money on live television, if shares is anything to go by, of which, of course, we cannot just conclude that it's even true because lawyer Sammy Gyamfi hasn't stated his side of the story. She said she received $800. Look, let's not go far on this platform. $800 to a CD today, how much is it? Let's establish the equivalent of Ghana CD. Let's say 4 months salary of lawyer Sammy Gyamfi because he's been in office for 4 months. Are you telling me that he cannot afford that to give to someone as a gift. You see, so there are different incidents here.
Malik, let's come
in the uproar, people established, some persons established the fact that, because it was Agrada, that we are angry because Agrada did not deserve that money and all of that. That matter, like I said, is not pegged onto law, so it's a separate matter. I don't know which part of the conduct lawyer Sammy Gyamfi apologized for, but I'm saying that even if I were in his shoes, as an African child and as a northern boy, I would apologize before I take steps to even explain myself to the public.
Let's now come to Dr. Kabiru Mahama, and he spoke on behalf of the minority.
Go and read the law he quoted.
This is what he's calling for.
I'm sure he needs.
He says, one, they are calling for the immediate sanction of Sammy Gyamfi as acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board. They are also calling for a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bundles displayed in the viral video. An apology from the presidency to the Ghanaian people for the insult this act represents to those suffering under this failed economy.
So how is it an insult? That I am working, I receive salary, I meet Akable, and I say, Akable, my good friend. In fact, not that I even give. You come to me and say, oh, my brother Basintale, we've known each other from the days of Legon. I beg you, if you can support me with some fuel, then I give you money for fuel. Is that the offense? If that is the offense, then anytime I roam in town, I will just put my hands in my ears and I'll be walking. Because anybody who comes to me, I'll say, I beg you, Agrada. If you come, I'll say Agrada. Because I don't want trouble. And this deters a lot of us. You see, but point I'm making is that I will state emphatically here that this situation will not stop me, Malik Basintale, from meeting people, and if I can offer a helping hand to them, I offer. It will never stop me. I won't. Anybody who meets me, if you are in crisis and you think I can be of help to you, approach me. If I have money, I will support you. If I don't have, I'll tell you, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Al-Barakah. Then you leave me. If I have money too, Alhamdulillah, I'll help you. And this situation should not deter any appointee into stopping the charity work. Look, the previous government, if people were heartless and cruel, to the extent that if their grassroots, and I've heard a lot of their grassroots speaking, that some appointees were throwing out $50,000, $100,000 to I don't want to say ladies, because of course you can give a woman money, but they were doling out to people, and their grassroots people, some people were struggling to even reach out to them. So for me, I would admonish lawyers Sammy Gyamfi, if you go out and party, people meet you, and then they are in any sort of need and they approach you and you can support them. This matter is blown out of proportion. I'm impressed that as an African child, he's apologized. But I know that at the right time, he would explain his side of the story. I read that the receiver said she received $800. And I am stating emphatically, look, Kabiru quoted this law. And let me quote it to him. I don't know how he's understanding about some of these laws. The Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723, Section 3, sorry. It says, a person shall not engage in business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under this act. The bank shall prescribe the banks and other corporate bodies or persons that it considers competent to engage in businesses of dealing with foreign exchange. And then it comes down to say the business of dealing in foreign exchange includes purchase and sale of foreign currency. Did you see Sammy Gyamfi buying purchase and selling foreign currency? I beg your pardon. Number 2, the receipt of or payment of foreign currency. Did you see Sammy Gyamfi paying for anything with foreign currency? And importation and exportation of foreign currency. Have you seen him? In fact, when he went to the funeral grounds, was that place Abu Dhabi to be have been exporting the dollar to? So clearly, the Ghanaian people have realized that the entire facade created by the MPP apparatchiks is a non-starter. It's dead on arrival because there is no law that criminal Akable today. If you have CD, you can walk into a forex bureau and buy dollars. True or false? You can, if you have dollar, you can walk into the forex bureau and change it. True or false? So if it is illegal to possess dollars in this country, then forex bureaus should be changed into choppers, so that when we go there, we know we are going to eat fufu and abenkwai. The truth of the matter is that there is no law criminalizing the possession. There is a law criminalizing it. I dare anybody to state such law. And there is no law also prohibiting you from giving anybody dollar. For example, I have traveled, or you, Akable, have traveled. Sometimes, you know my analysis. I like to use a lot of common sense. You have traveled, and then TV3 gave you $1 because you went to capture a story in London. Let me say that. Then you got there, and then you spent your $1. Number one, TV3 does not expect that you spend all the $1 there. There will be some you leave in your pocket and you bring back home. So if you bring that $1 back home, when you arrived on your way home, I met you. Oh, Akable, I'm suffering, I'm struggling, if you can help me. You look in your wallet and there's no CD, but the $1 TV3 gave you to travel is still in your wallet. Will you give it to me or not? You will give it to me. So which law criminalizes it? So in the court of common sense and in the court of public opinion, I think that the matter must be established that there is no legal basis to the minority. And for the first time, you realize that Afenyo Makin pushed Kabiru. He would have been championing it. You know Afenyo. He would have, but Afenyo is a lawyer, and he knows that if he does that, he will become a laughing stock. So he decided to push my northern brother Kabiru, and Kabiru has goofed. He's tombed. He's bamboozled. Currently, he came to the public domain to misfire, and I think that this will remain a dent on Kabiru because people will now begin to understand that the Kabiru we had high hopes in is now engaging in very pedestrian situations, and they are non-starters. And so my advice to Dr. Kabiru is that immediately he should take steps to sanctify himself. He should stop the trajectory he's going. He should reform himself, ask for forgiveness, and then go and sit down and reflect over some of these laws, because there is no law, like I have said, that criminalizes the possession of dollar. There is no law that criminalizes the changing of dollar, and there is no law in this country that criminalizes the giving of foreign currency to any entity. And then the last on this, you see, we are those rather putting the president in a tight corner. Because I am certain that by now, His Excellency the President has read the code of conduct over 10 times looking for a clause that criminalizes
we'll come to the code.
What has been done.
Come to the code.
Yes.
Let me bring in.
I am certain.